The South will rise again. An old Civil War declaration that took on great significance last week. The land of cotton finally had a team in postseason action when the Atlanta Falcons hosted the Philadelphia Eagles in the first ever NFC Wildcard playoff. For Falcon coach Lehman Bennett and Eagle coach Dick Vermeil, it was their first whiff of rarefied playoff air. Each coach knew that their teams could advance in the NFC tournament only if they achieved certain goals. For Atlanta, stop Eagles super runner Wilbert Montgomery, number 31. That they did, holding him to only 19 yards in 16 carries. Philadelphia felt they would win if they could shut down Atlanta's deep passing attack, the heart and soul of their offense. For 55 minutes, the Eagles were successful, but in the end, long Falcon aerials played a big part in the game's outcome. As anticipated, the game was a physical, hard-hitting affair, dominated by the defenses. The first break of the contest was made by the special teams late in the opening period, when an Eagle punt was mishandled by kick returner Billy Reichman, number 82. The Eagles' suicide squatters recovered the loose ball inside the Atlanta 20, and the offense wasted little time in taking advantage of the situation. Quarterback Ron Jaworski hit number 17 Harold Carmichael for a touchdown to give the Eagles the early lead. But the shaky Philadelphia kicking game, which had been a problem spot all season, fell short again by missing the extra point. So Atlanta could jump ahead with a score of their own. Quarterback Steve Bartkowski tried to get it all at once, but was thwarted by number 46 Herman Edwards. With the Atlanta offense seemingly in check, the Eagles felt one more first-half score would put them in great shape. But the Falcons have a defense that will blitz everyone, including the equipment manager if necessary. The Eagles had trouble with the blitz for the rest of the half and could not score again. Atlanta's running game never did get on track. But the passing lanes finally opened up midway in period 2 when Bartkowski hit wide receiver Wallace Francis, number 89, for a 23-yard gain. The advance put the Falcons deep in Eagle territory, but they fumbled the ball away soon after to end the drive. At halftime, it was 6-0 Philadelphia, thanks mostly to great defense and a trio of Atlanta mistakes. The Eagles came out throwing in the second half, with their best gain coming on a Jaworski to Charlie Smith hookup. With Harold Carmichael drawing double and sometimes triple coverage, Smith, number 85, enjoyed his best game of the year, with 7 catches for 108 yards. Smith's reception set up a 1-yard plunge by Wilbert Montgomery. The following point after was good this time, so now the Eagles had a 13-0 lead. And it remained that way until the final minutes of the game when the Falcons came back, just as they have so often this season. Bartkowski threw up a bomb that Wallace Francis literally stole from safety Deke Sanders, number 26, to turn an interception into a 49-yard gain. Bartkowski then followed with a touchdown pass to tight end Jim Mitchell, number 86. For a 10-year veteran like Mitchell in his first playoff game, the moment was a long time coming. But when it arrived, he was ready. Atlanta now trailed by only 13-7 with 5 minutes to play. But the Falcon defense quickly got the ball back, giving Bartkowski and company one last chance. Much to his surprise and delight, Bartkowski found his favorite target, Wallace Francis, wide open down the middle. 37 yards later, the game was tied at 13. Place kicker Tim Mazzetti, who scored the winning points in 5 Atlanta victories during the year, added the conversion to give the Falcons the lead for the first time, 14-13. But with only a minute and a half remaining, the Eagles put on one final drive, coming very close to winning the game on a pass to wide receiver Orrin Middlebrook, number 81. A last-ditch swat by cornerback Ernie Jackson, number 30, helped prevent the touchdown. Now only 17 seconds remained, and the Eagles called on kicker Mike Michel to try a 34-yard field goal. A punter by trade who had been pressed into place-kicking duties because of injuries to others, this would be only his second field goal attempt of the entire season. But a successful kick would surely mean victory for Philadelphia. Once again, the Falcons had done it. Somehow, some way, they had pulled out another win when it seemed that all was lost. For the Eagles, it was a heartbreaking defeat in their first playoff appearance in 18 years. But for Atlanta, it means they stay alive for at least another week. Their reward for the victory, a date with Dallas, the world champs down in Texas. On paper, an apparent mismatch. But the way the Falcons have been playing lately, who is to say it couldn't happen again? Don't count out Destiny's darlings just yet. There might be a miracle or two left in their bag of tricks. While Atlanta prevailed against Philadelphia in the Wildcard Bowl, the 3 NFC divisional winners were waiting in the wings. Preparation to play Tom Landry's Dallas Cowboys is possibly the most difficult task of any of the finalists. To start with, an opponent must deal with number 79, defensive end Harvey Martin, All-Pro again this year. With 4 Pro Bowlers to back him up, the Dallas defense is number 1 against the rush and also sacked more NFL quarterbacks than anyone else. With such a big plus on defense, the Cowboy attack could be lopsided. But the Dallas offense is equally as potent and boasts the NFL's top-rated passer in Roger Staubach. Staubach's 3,190 yards and 25 touchdowns fueled half of the number 1 offensive attack in the NFC. The other half of that offense was led by Tony Dorsett, as the Pokes' rushing game proved to be the best in the NFC. Dallas scored 384 points this season, more than any other team in football, and until someone knocks them off, the Cowboys are still the defending world champions. Minnesota, on the other hand, is strictly a one-man team this year. The almost legendary Fran Tarkenton managed to back the Vikings into the playoffs with the worst record of any playoff team. Passing over 50 times in some games, Tarkenton had 4 receivers with over 50 catches. The Vikings finished the season with the worst rushing, but the best passing in the NFC. And Tarkenton himself said he has never been more valuable to this team. But a lone Viking will need more than a curse from Odin to reach the Super Bowl, because next are the revenge-minded Rams. Los Angeles has never beaten the Vikings in a playoff game, but this year it's hard to imagine the Rams' top-ranked defense not stopping Tarkenton's attack. Everyone that has faced them has quickly learned why the Rams held the number 1 ranking in total defense all year long. Even though the offense sputtered, it was the consistency of the secondary that kept the Rams close to their opponents. Cornerback number 49, Rod Perry, personally accounted for 3 touchdowns off of interceptions, as the Rams secondary was the best in the NFC. Something has to give in an aerial showdown that promises to keep more than just the players on their toes. Confronting the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Denver Broncos, AFC West champions for the 2nd consecutive year, primed itself season-long for the playoffs. Featuring one of the most punishing crews of linebackers, the Broncos could make life most difficult for the Steelers in the playoffs. For Denver, the defense is responsible for many Bronco victories, somehow always managing the big play. Complementing a capable offense is the Broncos' secret weapon, number 80 Rick Upchurch, who led the AFC in punt returns for the 2nd time in 3 years. Orange Crush fans are eagerly awaiting a return trip to the Super Bowl. But out in Pittsburgh stands a man named Terry Bradshaw, who threw 28 touchdown passes, enjoying one of his most productive years as a pro. The Steelers look to him to solve Denver's vaunted defense. Number 82, John Stallworth, and Lynn Swann are 2 superb receivers. But the prime reason for Pittsburgh's success is the rejuvenation of the steel curtain defense, the stingiest in the NFL. But number 78 defensive end Dwight White and his teammates can't wait to unleash their defense on the Denver Broncos. Matched against Houston in the 2nd round of the playoffs, a cocky New England Patriot team is justified in their bold self-esteem. Consider the following facts. The Patriots are the first team to feature 4 500-yard rushers in the same year, in running back Sam Cunningham, Horace Ivory, and Andy Johnson. Quarterback Steve Grogan also personally ran for 539 yards, the most by any AFC quarterback since 1970. The Patriots as well totaled over 180 first downs rushing, an NFL team season record. Needless to say, the Patriots are a devastating offensive machine, capable of running up the score at will. However, when opponents are keying on the Patriot rushing game, quarterback Grogan and number 86, Stanley the Steamer Morgan, can combine for the crusher. Like the 7-headed serpent, New England can hurt you in many different ways. Entering the AFC divisional playoff game against Miami, Houston quarterback Dan Pastorini had to participate with bruised ribs, a wrenched knee, a sprained ankle, and a swollen elbow. A walking digest of medical maladies held together with miles of tape. Miami signal caller Bob Greasy, too, was ailing with a rib injury and has not thrown a pass in a week. Greasy had his finest outing ever the last time he faced the Oilers, totaling over 300 yards on 23 completions. In this all-important game, one had to wonder if his injury would cause Bob to falter. One concerned individual was Dolphin head coach Don Shula, who desperately hoped that his home Orange Bowl fans and defense, which has allowed merely 9 points over the last 3 games, could offset the injury to his quarterback. The Dolphins knew that playoff success hinged on stopping number 34, Earl Campbell. Likewise, the Oilers keyed on Miami's number 24, Delvin Williams, who rushed for over 1,200 yards this season. Both teams were so effective in stopping the ground game that Campbell and Williams, the number 1 and 2 rushers in the AFC respectively, were limited to 16 yards apiece. Finally, a break came for the home Dolphins. Ernest Roan's recovery of Robert Wood's fumble gave the Dolphins a 1st and 10 on the Oiler 21. And 2 plays later, Greasy threw into the end zone. A slow-motion replay from behind the uprights shows that Miami's offensive line gave Greasy plenty of time to hit number 87, Andre Tillman, right on the numbers for the score. Down 7-0, Pastorini proceeded to direct a magnificent passing drive downfield. Completing 6 of 7 passes in the process, he ignored his laboring physical state and fired his way towards the Dolphin goal line. The final play of the score-tying drive came on a 13-yard bullet to number 45, Tim Wilson. A replay reveals that much of the credit for the play's success goes to the Houston offensive line, number 1 in the league in pass protection. Play-action faking to number 34 Campbell and number 86 Barber complemented the protection and confused the Dolphins. Mr. Pastorini did the rest. With a 7-7 halftime score, the key playoff showdown was up for grabs, and Greasy decided to do something about it. Number 27, Greg Stemrick's interception put an end to Greasy's bid at the lead. But Pastorini found the going most difficult also. After a scoreless third quarter and the game still deadlocked at 7, it became increasingly apparent that one of these teams had only 15 minutes left in their season. Pastorini made sure it was not going to be his. Pastorini zipped the Oilers downfield with quick short passes that led to a field goal and a 10-7 lead. Greasy was intercepted, and the Oilers seized the opportunity to increase the margin. Earl Campbell, who personally pounded the Dolphins for nearly 200 yards in their previous meeting, took control. He carried the ball 5 times during the drive and drowned Miami's playoff aspirations with a 1-yard touchdown plunge. Following a deliberate safety by Pastorini late in the game, victory belonged to the Oilers by defeating Shula's Dolphins 17-9. It was the first time since the old AFL era that Houston had found itself in the playoffs, and obviously against Miami on their home Florida turf, the Oilers came to play. For Coach Bum Phillips, it's time to sip the bubbly stuff from his blue armadillo cowboy boots. It was a victory to savor. Against a seasoned team with playoff experience, Bum's battlers had enough confidence and composure to upset favored Miami and advance to the second round of the playoffs. For the Dolphins, their first playoff action in 3 years ended in disappointment, and lanky receiver Duriel Harris can do little but examine the beaming faces of the winners and search himself for the reasons behind the disheartening defeat. Such was not the feeling in the Oiler locker room, where Dan Pastorini clutched the game, ball, and the moment. His performance that night surpassed description. But he and his Oilers have a long path to travel if they are to return to this locker room, for it is inside these walls that one of the final contenders must prepare for Super Bowl 13 here in the Orange Bowl in Miami. For Pastorini and his teammates, it's more practice and recuperation before the trip north to Foxborough, where they meet the New England Patriots for round 2 of the playoffs.